Hello, pupils. Nice to come your way again. How was your weekend? I hope it was fine. Alright, mine was fine too. You're welcome to a new week. And we are going to have a lesson on social studies. And our topic is characteristics of drug abusers, their treatment, and rehabilitation. Before we move to our main lesson, let's look at the specific objectives. At the end of this lesson, you should be able to define drug abuse, define drug abuser, least commonly abused drugs, state factors which encourage drug abuse, state effect of some drugs on those who abuse them. First, let's look at the meaning of drug abuse. Drug abuse is the act of handling or using drugs wrongly. Drugs can be used or handled properly or wrongly. When drugs are used properly, they achieve the reasons for their use. For instance, when we are sick, we go to the hospital. Doctors and nurses give us drugs so that we will become well. Such use of drug is the proper way, so it cannot lead to drug abuse. But when friends or strangers lure us to take drugs without the advice of a doctor or pharmacist, this can lead to abuse. And also, self-medication, as taking drugs without the advice of a doctor, can also lead to abuse. Drug abuse is harmful to the health of an individual because of the harmful substances contained in most of the drugs. That is why it is important for people to avoid any form of drug abuse. Now let's see drug abuser. Drug abusers are those who do not use drugs well and properly. Those people who do not use drugs well do experience health problems like mental disorder and lung disease, and also their performance in schoolwork will become poor because they are not concentrating in school. Some of them are unkempt, rough, and difficult to live with. Now let's see this picture here. If you look at them very well, you see how unkempt they are, looking rough. And this kind of people cannot live with other people except people in their same clique. Now let's look at commonly abused drugs. Examples are cannabis, alcohol, like what you've seen here. We have bottles of drinks. All these drinks contain alcohol. Then we have cocaine. If you look at it very well, you see those whitish thing on top of the table, and someone is trying to sniff it. Those things on the table are cocaine. Then we have examples of products made from tobacco are cigarette and local snuff, like what you have seen here. You have seen cigarette where it is, and this instrument here, that's where the local snuff is. People inhale it from there. And also People, when they take all these drugs, they believe that it will relieve stress and severe pain, and also will give them more power to do work. But this is wrong because it will expose them to more health problems. Let's look at factors which encourage abuse of drugs. 1. Drug can be abused wrongly when bad friends or strangers lure us to take drugs. 2. Being too curious. Maybe you've seen an advert on television about a particular drug and you want to know what that drug can do. This can lead to drug abuse. 3. Anxiety and depression. When you're worried and you're being depressed, some people will be encouraged to take all these drugs because they believe it will relieve them of anxiety and depression. But this is wrong. This will lead them to more health problems. Now let's look at effects of some drugs on those who abuse them. First, we are going to see effects of alcohol on abusers. When we talked about effects of alcohol on abusers, a person who abuses alcohol often has hallucination, that is hearing voices or sound, but they don't know where it's coming from, and also slurred speech. They don't talk like normal human being when they're talking, and his hands tremble. Their hands are always shaking, and he's unable to maintain balance. You see them moving to the left, to the right, and they'll be moving like that. They're not standing like normal human being. And also they become aggressive, very angry, and they fight people that they see unnecessarily. Sometimes they see or hear what normal people do not see or hear. Now let's see effects of tobacco on abusers. People who take forms of tobacco, such as cigarettes, often have badly colored lips, dark teeth, and fingers like what we have seen here. I've seen this person has been taking products made from tobacco, like what you have seen here. This is cigarette. He has been taking, look at his teeth, it's becoming dark because of what he has been taking. Now let's look at effects of cannabis on abusers. Abusers feel excited but often display a false sense of confidence. They're always happy whenever they take cannabis, and also they display false sense of confidence. The victims keep company with other users as they find it difficult to stay alone. They're always finding it difficult to stay alone. They only mingle with their kind of friends. And sometimes they overeat. They'll eat because of this cannabis gives them appetite, and also they make them to be unable to eat. Because of taking too much of cannabis, it can cause them to lose appetite. Effects of cocaine on abusers. Now let's see effects of cocaine on abusers. People who take cocaine usually find it difficult to sleep. They cannot sleep, eat, and stay calm. Sometimes they are extremely happy, but later become depressed. Sometimes you see them very happy, and the next moment they'll be very sad. But if they're taking this cocaine, they'll be very happy. When the effect of this cocaine finished, they become depressed. Now let's see ways of helping someone who had abused drugs. 1. Report any change of behavior that is noticed to his or her parent, teacher, and other adults. When you see someone taking drugs or abusing drugs, You should do what? Report the person to his or her parents or his teacher. And 2. Seek medical attention from doctors and nurses. The person should be taken to the hospital so that he or she will be advised on what to do. 3. Advise them to keep good friends. You should always tell them they should keep good friends. Those friends that are not giving them good advice, they should try to put away such friends because they are not helping them. 4. Pray for them. It is your duty, it is our duty to pray for those who abuse drugs so that God will help them to live a good life. Let's go back to the lesson for better understanding. First, we talk about drug abuse. And I said, drug abuse is the act of handling or using drugs wrongly. Then we talked about drug abusers, and I said that are those people who do not use drugs well or properly. Then we also mentioned examples of drug that can be abused. We mentioned cannabis, cocaine, alcohol, and tobacco. Then we also talked about effects of all these drugs, one after the other. Then we mentioned ways of helping someone who had abused drugs. 1. Report any change of behavior that is noticed to his or her parents, teacher, and other adults. 2. Seek medical attention from doctors and nurses. 3. Advise them to keep good friends. 4. Pray for them. We have come to the end of a lesson. 1. Mention 3 commonly abused drugs. 2. State effects of alcohol on abusers. 3. State 2 ways of helping those who abuse drugs. Do have a lovely day and stay safe.